Factorization is the process of restating an expression as the product of multiple expressions. In other words, expressions multiplied together. So for example, think of the number 6. You can make 6 by multiplying 1 times 6, or you can multiply 2 times 3. So 1, 6, 2, and 3 are all factors of 6.
The same is true of expressions that include variables. So x, 6x, 2x, and 3x are all factors of 6x squared. Now let's take two numbers and find their factors. What are the common factors of 6 and 15? Well, 1 times 6 is 6 and 1 times 15 is 15. So 1 is a factor of both 6 and 15. 2 times 3 is 6, so 2 is a factor of 6, but 2 doesn't multiply equally into 15. 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 5 is 15, so 3 is a common factor of 6 and 15. 5 doesn't multiply evenly into 6, but 5 times 3 is 15. So out of all of the factors for both 6 and 15, it turns out that 3 is the largest number that multiplies equally into them both. It's what we call the greatest common factor. Now let's try two terms that include variables, 12x and 20x squared. First, let's focus on the coefficients, 12 and 20. 1 is a common factor for both of these. 2 is also a common factor for 12 and 20. 3 is a factor of 12, but not of 20. 4 is a common factor. In fact, it's the greatest common factor. Now let's look at the variable expression. X times 1 is x, and x times x is x squared. So x is a common factor. In fact, for the complete terms, 4x is the greatest common factor. As a general rule, the greatest common factor for variable expressions like these is always the greatest common factor of the coefficients, in this case 4, times the variable expression with the lowest exponential order, in this case x. So now that you know about factoring, there are some tricks that you can use to manipulate expressions in equations. For example, let's look at this expression, 9x plus 12y. The greatest common factor of 9 and 12 is 3, so we can rewrite this expression like this, 3 times 3x plus 3 times 4y. Now remember the distributive property from earlier? Well, we can use that to refactor this expression like this, 3 times 3x plus 4y. Well, techniques like this can be really useful when you need to isolate or combine terms in an equation in order to solve it.